What's up, fight fans? Welcome to Shooting the Shit, brought to you by Countermove Fantasy MMA at countermove.com. I'm the elite XC of cartoons and mixed martial arts, Tommy Toehold. Today, John motherfucking Hackleman. Let's do this shit! Joining me via the Triple THS hotline, you know him, you love him. He coached the Iceman, he's the Pitmaster, the actual real-life John Hackleman in cartoon form. John, thanks for coming on the show. Let's start with some recent headlines. What do you make of this whole John Jones cocaine thing?
I don't understand how anyone who's ever done the drug or knows anything about the drugs of marijuana and cocaine can consider pot performance enhancing and cocaine not. I mean, cocaine enhances everything. Everything you do is enhanced by cocaine. It can make you train harder, fight better. Ask Aaron Pryor and Panama Lewis. If you remember that fight when he fought Alexis Arguello and they found out he did the coke, because that's why he can go 12 rounds nonstop. But I hope if John is, coke expert, he gets some help. I think he should reach out to someone like Tony Robbins or Court McGee that's been there, done that. Not Tony Robbins, but Court McGee has, and he actually mentors other people having these issues. I feel bad for him. I don't understand it. First of all, they tested him in camp and he tested positive. Seems like everybody should have known it then. But whatever. The UFC is smarter than I am, so I just hope John's okay.
They're smarter than me too. I can't even open the aspirin bottle. John, you probably know Chuck Liddell better than anybody on the planet. Is he as awesome in real life as he seems in the legends of old?
Chuck Liddell is probably one of the most awesomest guys on the planet. It's hard to explain. Chuck never turned down an autograph or a picture in his life. Yeah, I mean, that's right there. He could be eating with a fork just about in his mouth, and somebody could come up at the dinner table at a restaurant and grab his hand and go, "Can I get a picture?" I mean, they could be as rude as could be, and Chuck will smile right away and say, "Yeah, sure, man, what's your name?" Chuck defines awesomeness. It's unbelievable how Chuck treats people. If you're a bum on the street asking him for a quarter, he will show you the same dignity and respect as he does if you are the president of the United States or a superstar actress or actor. One of my favorite stories on Chuck, this doesn't really define his awesomeness, but way back in the 90s, before there was like crazy Windows and all kind of crazy computer stuff, we had DOS, and we had an old computer. But I could still get on the internet. I found a San Luis Obispo male-for-male chat room, and I pretended I was Chuck. Now, this was before Chuck Liddell was Chuck Liddell. Chuck was a bartender at a local bar, and he trained with me on the side. So, no, I mean, he wasn't a star yet, but I pretended I was him, and I would tell these gay guys to come meet me at the bar, and I'd tell them what bar I was working and what time I was getting off. And Chuck would always come in and go, "Man, I must be like a gay magnet, man. I have so many gay guys coming up to me these days." And one night he was going to go meet his mom after work, and he worked the night shift, so he was going to meet his mom at Denny's at like 1 a.m, and I knew that. So I chatted with one certain gay guy, and I told the guy, "I'm going to be meeting my mom at Denny's tonight, but I want you to come up and talk to me. So even if I'm busy, come up and say hi to me, and I have a mohawk, and yada, yada, yada." And Chuck came into the gym the next day, he looked at me and goes, "Motherfucker, I know what you did." So I was busted, so I couldn't do it anymore.
What non-combat sport would Chuck be good at?
Whatever Chuck does would turn into a combat sport, so I'd love it. But Chuck is so fucking competitive. It doesn't matter if he was playing darts. He would turn that into a combat sport. He is the most competitive person. If you guys watched the show, when he was on the show with Tito and they were playing dodgeball, I have never in my life seen anyone play dodgeball so aggressively as I did see that night with Chuck. And I've seen Chuck, we goofing around playing other stuff. I've seen him turn a fucking card game into a contact sport. So I think Chuck would turn anything he does into a contact sport.
There are lots of rules that have been added to MMA since you were allowed to kill inside the cage in the 90s. What are some of the stupidest rules in the sport?
The dumbest rules in MMA. Oh my God. First of all, no hitting in the back of the head. What's the difference in the back of the head versus the front of the head? First of all, I mean, you hit him in the back of the head. Okay, that controls some motor coordination and some posture and, some movement and stuff. But then you hit him in the front of the head. There's his planning, his judgment, his creativity. Which would you rather lose? I mean, I don't know. I don't think one's better or worse than the other. Then what about the side of the head? You can hit it up in the side of the head. He's going to lose his short-term memory. He's going to lose his speech. So the side, the front, the back, I don't know, where that rule came from or why it is. It's a pretty dumb rule because the whole sphere of the brain controls different things, all of equal importance. The front of the head, those frontal lobes, they're very important. I don't know why they encourage you to punch the front of the head and forbid you to hit in the back of the head. Makes absolutely no sense. And it makes even less sense when you realize the anatomy and physiology of a head injury. You have what you call a coup counter coup or a acceleration deceleration injury, which means a lot of times when they get hit in the front of the head, the brain, which is floating in liquid in the skull, actually bounces off the back of the skull, and that's what gets hurt. So it's just a weird rule that makes absolutely no sense, because when you get hit in the front of the head, it actually hurts the back of the head even more, and they're all equal importance. So that's one of the dumbest rules. Then, how's this one? No small joint manipulation. In other words, no less than 3 fingers can you use to pull someone off of you. Like he's grabbing you, choking you, whatever, because you might break his pinky. Okay. But now you can turn around and snap his arm or choke him unconscious. But heaven forbid you break someone's pinky. I mean, I don't understand that one. So there's another one. No up kicks. Somebody's over you, okay, with one knee on the ground, but all the leverage and power and hips and everything where he can just knock you senseless because he has gravity and his full body weight on his side. All you have is 2 little legs that can kick up at him. But you're not allowed to do that because then you're fouled. But he can rain down fury on you. Another very, very stupid rule. The one that they did get rid of, thank God, which made even the least sense of all, no kidney shots. Even sometimes when someone's in your guard, they don't like you to kick them with your heel in the kidneys. Now, I don't know why you can't kick the kidneys, but you can hit the liver. First of all, the liver hurts a lot more. Second of all, you only have 1 liver, you have 2 kidneys. You can live without your kidneys. You can't live without your liver. And you're allowed to punch the person in the freaking heart, but you can't hit him in the kidneys. So, another stupid rule. So there's some pretty dumb rules. But all in all, to be honest, I think the UFC is really coming up with, modifying these silly rules and stuff, and they're getting better. But those are some of the dumbest rules that I think are still there.
Speaking of rules, TRT was recently banned. What are your thoughts on fighters using it?
TRT. First of all, we do TRT at the pit. We've been doing TRT since the 70s. We just naturally do TRT. I mean, I have all my guys do it. Chuck did it forever. And, one day we found out it was illegal. And it was like, why is fucking top ramen therapy illegal? We've been doing top ramen therapy since the beginning of our training. It gives us the endurance and the strength and the power, to go on. So we couldn't understand why it was illegal. But then we found out there's that other TRT out there. They call it testosterone replacement therapy. And then we're like, why the fuck would we need that? We'd rather have top ramen therapy.
I heard a rumor that you hate the shit out of people who ride bikes. Please elaborate.
Well, I actually love bike riders, and I think it's a great exercise, and they should fucking be doing spinning all day long in the gym. Or if you could go on a bike path like at Venice Beach. But to me, I mean, I don't have a problem with it per se because I won't ride a bike on the street. To me, if you're riding a bicycle on the street, it's like a woman on her period and she's swimming with a bunch of fucking sharks. So when these bike riders are trying to intermingle with fucking 6,000-pound cars going 80 miles an hour, and they're trying to share the road and they get hit, and then they go, another bike rider got hit. Yeah, guess what? If you're trying to share the road going 16 miles an hour with fucking cars that are going 60 miles an hour, and you think you're going to intermingle with them, somebody's going to get hurt, and it's usually going to be the bike rider. So my only problem with bike riders is when they leave the gym and get onto the road. I blogged about it, and there was a guy that died, and there's a bunch of people that died. But a couple cops came into Starbucks, and they're like, oh man, we thought it was you, man. We were so worried. I go, what? Yeah, a bike rider died this morning. I go, why did you think it was me? And they go, we watch your blog, because it's a video blog. And they go, we know how much you hate bike riders. And it was a black truck that did it. And we thought it was you, and we thought, oh shit, but it wasn't me. So, no.
Who has better facial hair, me or Court McGee?
Court McGee has the most fucking badass facial hair of all time, okay? He's had that same facial hair since he was 6 fucking years old. And his parents were dressing him up one Halloween, and they wanted him to be an Amish guy. So they, instead of shaving it like they used to, they let it grow out. He was 6 fucking years old when he had that badass facial hair, and he still has it to this day. And Now you notice everybody, including Johnny Hendricks and everybody, wants to try to copy Court McGee. It's not going to happen, though. Court McGee has the most badass facial hair on the planet, bar none.
All right, Antonio Banuelos challenges a team of ninjas. It's a fight to the death. Who wins?
If Antonio Banuelos challenged a team of ninjas to a fight to the death, he would win without a doubt. Antonio Banuelos not only is one of the baddest fucking dudes alive, you know, short little stocky motherfucker that can just either overhand right you into sleep or he can suplex you into oblivion. So not only is he one of the most badass fighters walking the planet today, he's also one of a kind. He's the triple bi. Instead of the trifecta like they have in racehorses, he's the triple bi. He's bipolar, bilingual, and bisexual. And that alone makes him one of the baddest dudes alive.
What does John Hackleman do when he's not turning people into ninja-killing super motherfuckers?
I like to hang out at Starbucks, cuddle with random dogs, and that's very, very disturbing to my wife, who thinks it's completely inappropriate and creepy that I like to go up to dogs and cuddle with them and pet them and kiss them and tell them how much I love them. It's always in a voice like this, "Oh, you're so cute, I love you." She thinks it's weird. I think it's normal, and I think the dogs appreciate it. That's one of my favorite things to do. I also love to be the anti-bully, and one of the biggest bullies that I think are out there, and they're crying their rights, are smokers. People that smoke in public, and when I'm trying to relax, do whatever I do, and I have to inhale their smoke, I like to spray their area with fart spray, which I carry with me at all times. I just reach in my fanny pack, grab my fucking fart spray it their way, and then I walk back and sit down. And 99% of the time, they'll just leave. But let me just tell you, twice did it backfire on me. Once because the wind was blowing my way and it went on me. The second time, we're in a bar and this freaking chick was smoking right outside the door and is blowing her smoke in the door. In California, you're not allowed to smoke in bars. And so I went outside. I say, that smoke is coming in the bar. It's really bugging me. Do you mind to? Fuck you. I'll smoke wherever I want. So I actually sprayed her with the fart spray. But then she came back in the bar, so the whole bar stunk up. So I had to leave anyway. Another thing I like to do is I love to watch shows. I'm a show guy. Like I get hooked on shows. Like I was hooked on Dexter. I was hooked on Breaking Bad. I'm hooked on Homeland. I was hooked on Sex and the City, including the 2 movies. So I'm a TV guy as well.
What is the craziest thing you've seen in the cage?
Craziest thing I've ever seen is Anthony Pettis' kick off the cage. Loved it. Almost came in my pants. It was unfucking believable. I think Anthony Pettis and Duke Rufus are fucking creative geniuses. I just loved it. I love to see Chuck moving backwards, knocking people out with his reverse punch. I love to see that. That's crazy to me. I love Ben Saunders' Umaplata. Loved it. And I love anything that Genki Sudo does. Anything.
Where do you see MMA in 30 years?
I think all sports are going to morph into MMA, and MMA will be the only legitimate sport in 30 years. There's a lot of cute other little sports out there, basketball, baseball, whatever, they run up and down, dancing, throwing little balls and bouncing them around and having little rules where they have to stay in the lines and stuff. And it makes no fucking sense. And when they get mad at each other, when baseball players get mad at each other, they throw down their fucking gloves and they fight. Even when basketball players get mad at each other, they fight. They fight like little teenage girls, but they fight. Football players, when they get mad at each other, they fight. That is because fighting it's programmed into the male DNA and obviously the female DNA. These badass MMA chicks are out here. They're fighting like freaking just as good as men, but it's wired into our DNA. So it's like, it's fight or flight. It's not fucking basketball in flight or baseball in flight. It's fight or flight. It's the most real sport there is, and it's the accumulation of all of our gene pools, our history, and it's going to come back around. In 30 years, the only legitimate sport out there will be MMA.
Top movies ever, go!
Top movies of all time. Good Will Hunting. Freaking love it. Especially when he's in the office with, his counselor, Robin Williams. And Robin Williams gets him against the wall with his hand on his throat and says, "I will end you." Gets chills up and down my spine. I can watch that movie over and over. It's actually on my iPhone. Another one that's on my iPhone, It's a Wonderful Life. James Stewart, made in the 40s. I can watch that movie every fucking day and I'll cry every time. But good cry, because I love it so much. When everybody's putting money on the table at the end, it breaks me up. I love that movie. Shallow Hal. Shallow Hal's got a gal. I love Shallow Hal. I love Boomerang with Eddie Murphy. It's one of my tops. And One Good Cop. with, I forget the actor's name, but I'll watch that one all day long too. So those are my 5 favorite movies.
Who are some of your favorite fighters outside the pit?
I love the sport. I love fighters so much because they're such real people, real athletes with the Bushido and the warrior spirit. To me, I love watching. There's so many, but some that come to mind, Chris Camozzi, Dreamy Eyes. He was in the UFC. He was on The Ultimate Fighter. He's the best looking fighter out there. And if you are in the middle of a cage and he was fighting my fighter, I would direct my fighter not to make eye contact with Dreamy Eyes. Because if you make eye contact with him at any time during the fight, you will be in his spell. You'll be spellbound. He's that good looking that you will be spellbound by him and you will not be able to defend his attack. So all the guys that he fights are getting a little wiser to him now, so they will not make direct eye contact or else you can't win. Sorry about that. It's just true. Another fighter I love is Anthony Pettis. Just like I said, his creativity, him and Duke Roufus, is unbelievable. I love Robbie Lawler, just unbelievable old school guy that's coming around. Leonard Garcia could fight anyone and I would love it. Leonard Garcia is one of the most action-packed fighters with the biggest hearts ever. Those are probably my favorite non-pit fighters.
The UFC has been at the top of the mountain for a very long time. You've seen it all. What are your thoughts on the UFC?
UFC has gotten a lot of flack lately for a lot of reasons. But then again, who doesn't? I mean, if you're not getting flack or getting criticized, it just basically means you're not doing anything. I think the UFC, they have brought MMA into the limelight and they have turned it into a mainstream sport. I think their Ultimate Fighter show is unbelievable. And I think their shows, just the team, I mean, Joe Rogan, Mike Goldberg, those two are the best freaking announcers, I mean, on the planet. They're the best commentators. Bruce Buffer, I mean, that guy's he's such a star. I mean, just watching the experience live or on TV is unbelievable. The matchmakers, they put together such excellent fights and such excellent shows. They're trying so hard to change the rules and to make it the best safety, but still have action. And that's such a hard line to stay on because they want to keep everything safe, but they also want action-packed fights. They just think of everything. They have freaking plastic surgeons that travels to every fight to sew up the fighters in the dressing room so they heal better. They have an orthopedic surgeon that travels around to all the shows. They have an ER doc, Dr. Davidson. The UFC turned MMA into just a mainstream sport. So I think they're doing an outstanding job. And one of the main guys on the whole thing besides Dana and the Fertitta brothers, Burt Watson. So yeah, I love the UFC.
All right, we're going to finish this thing with your best Diaz Brothers impression. Give it to me.
What, motherfucker? Fucking punk-ass bitch. Quit wrestling like a little fucking girl. Get off me. Fight me. Motherfucker, I will punch you in the face. 209, bitches. Stockton in the house.
That was more amazing than I could ever have imagined. Thank you, John Hackleman. That's Show Fight fans. Tune in daily for new content, weekly on SB Nation, and at TripleTHS.com so you can buy shit with my face on it. For everybody, Triple THS, I'm Tommy Toehold. I will end you. See, that's the line from the movie that we were talking about. I hate myself.